This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor Live. And of course, with me is Dr. Maria, who did a fabulous show already today on Frank's Beach. Got kudos for it from the staff and others.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I had Lauren Conlon on, who's a podcaster. She has two podcasts. One's a crime type crime, digging into it. And the other one, she does like entertainment type news. So she came on to update my audience about P-Diddy Combs, because everybody's very curious whether he's going to get Epstein in jail. So I was wondering what she knew. She's very in the fact that she's been investigating it for her shows. And there's no evidence that children were trafficked, but definitely evidence that women were trafficked. Yeah. And he's, it's a situation that's somewhat similar to Epstein. P. Diddy knows he knows about the skeletons that are buried, right? He hung around with a lot of celebrities, including Kamala, who thanked him for fundraising for her. There's pictures of him, chucking and jiving with Obama. And, he's very well connected. All these celebrities like to cozy up to Dems and vice versa. Democrats think they're really cool having.
They get a kill.
That's the thought. He is under suicide watch. Yeah, exactly. The cameras went out. The guards fell asleep. Nobody knew anything.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's a typical subject that I cover on my show, but it is got people talking just because of most people think that Epstein was murdered in jail because look at, you had people like Bill Clinton, Bill Gates going multiple times on the plane Lolita Express to his island where there was sex trafficking going on with minor girls.
Make it clear that Trump never went to the island. Trump was on the plane 2 or 3 times when the guy was a friend of his before he knew anything about his escapades.
Well, you have a story about
and
that.
He borrowed the plane to go home. I don't think Epstein was even on the plane. And then he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and the golf course because he was harassing the masseuse, the female masseuse, whatever you call a female masseuse.
Yeah.
And she came to him. She was reluctant to come to him. This is a Times reporter that wrote the story. She was reluctant to come to him because she thought that the guy was his friend. And the head, whatever supervisor was involved, said, no, you don't know Mr. Trump. She had no idea what Trump would do. She said, you don't know Mr. Trump. He finds that out, guy's gone.
Yeah.
The woman was very, very skeptical. She went, she told Trump. Trump gets right on the phone, calls the security, says, take all his stuff, of course, stick it at the gate, get all his stuff out of here if he has any crap here. And I think
Hasta la vista, baby.
Or left him a message. He said, stay away. Guy came back. They gave him his stuff. Never let him in again. And therefore, that's a difference between that and 27 times on the plane with Epstein, with the little girls hidden in the closets, I guess. And Bill never looked in the closets, nor did Gates. But so far, nobody was involved. Epstein, I guess, was just was all make believe.
You know what's really curious is his madam girlfriend there who was involved in the trafficking, and she also had 3-ways with minor girls too in Epstein, and she's still alive. And
who, Giselle?
Giselle.
Well, maybe that's why she's alive.
Yeah, she has to be agreeing not to talk. I don't know if they're paying for her high-priced lawyers. She has tried to appeal.
Maybe.
So it's very curious because she's the only one that. What about these men who went with these children? Like, why are they protected? It's disgusting. And that's everyday Americans like me. We get frustrated. We get frustrated that, number one, it's disgusting to have sex with children. But anyway, the elite get away with it just because they have money. It's not right. This power and prestige. That's why Lauren was saying on my show today, she's so surprised. They like basically threw the book at P-Diddy saying, no bail, you're a flight risk, which is highly unusual. Typically, people with this kind of money, the law doesn't always apply to them. Again, getting us all frustrated, but they're not letting P-Diddy out of jail.
This is a really big. I mean, what's going on with Epstein is really big.
P-Diddy.
No, Epstein.
Oh,
complete. The guy had all kinds of people that he took. He couldn't have been the only one taking advantage of those kids. I wouldn't have brought so many and so many people. There's no question that he was bringing people who are pedophiles, which unfortunately is a lot more prevalent than I think we realize.
we certainly didn't
And
realize
it seems among political people. Wow. But in any event, the all of a sudden, nothing.
I heard your belly.
What?
I heard your belly.
What belly?
Your belly. I just heard a growl, but go ahead.
Sure.
I've
only have one little piece of pizza. I'm starving.
Need more food.
More food. So I guess this is going to be another situation like that. I mean, everybody's scurrying around to cover up, and P. Diddy maybe has the goods on a lot of them. We'll see. If it didn't work out with Epstein, they got that one covered up beautifully.
I think that's why they didn't release him either, because he's an easier target in jail.
It's all Democrats that do this. Zelenskyy, on my show earlier, you heard some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Zelenskyy comes here and he calls Vance. He's politicking. He comes here and he attacks the Republican candidate.
He just got another $350 million. He understands the Democrats. I don't know if it's money laundering. I don't know what's going on.
They haven't moved in the war. I mean, back and forth and back and forth.
And you know this, Rudy.
They steal money like crazy.
Our taxpayer monies are paying for their retirement funds.
Is covering up massive crimes at the highest levels of both governments. He knows all about Biden's bribery. He knows all about the president of his own country being bribed. He knows about all of his mentor, his father in business, the guy who trained him, the guy who gave him millions, as we say in New York, his rabbi was the biggest money launderer in Ukraine. He money laundered plenty of money to the Bidens. We got the records. Name is Kolomoisky. He was banned from Ukraine, and he was banned by the World Bank. They didn't want him back in banking because he was such an unbelievably prolific money launderer.
I mean, so many.
Can you imagine what this guy could give away?
Yeah.
How many politicians? I mean, I can just tell you from the few little things I've seen, there are politicians, major politicians in England, the northern countries, and I am told,
you want some water?
I believe 10 in the United States, that this guy could tell you how he laundered the money into their accounts. There's also a witness and 3 others that would corroborate her that's available to the FBI for 4 years that I hope has disappeared and taken care of itself. But we gave it to them in January of 2020. The FBI has still not followed up on the offshore bank accounts that she says exist and that Ukrainian prosecutors say exist for the Bidens. To this day, the FBI has not followed up on that. They don't want to find out how much money are in the offshore bank accounts if the Bidens haven't taken it out by now.
Where did the impeachment go of Joe Biden? There is so much evidence of money laundering.
It was fixed like Epstein thing is fixed. It was fixed like Zelenskyy is fixed. I mean, all that money to Ukraine, and we've been in a stalemate for 2 years. I mean, $200 billion. Why doesn't he go get the money that was stolen back from Poroshenko and use it for his country? I mean, they probably, if they went after their oligarchs and took the money that they stole They probably wouldn't have to get any money from the United States.
You know, Rudy, we need investigative reporters like following them. I keep getting these anecdotal information. I don't know if it's true or not that the wife, Mrs. Zelenskyy, is in Paris all the time, shopping, buying Chanel.
He owns.
We're told that down in Palm Beach, in Boca, that these yacht dealerships are doing
Forget
great
about all-
business.
He really cares about all
Who
that.
are they selling?
I'm going to tell you what I know.
Ukrainians.
100%. I know 100% that he has the records of Biden's multi-million-dollar bribery, of Poroshenko's getting somewhere between 50 and 100 million. That he has the records. They're in his possession.
Nothing's going
And I've seen them. Some of them, not all of them. I've seen them. I know the people who could give up the bank accounts. The FBI, even though they were under threat of death, didn't go do anything for them with this present creep who runs the FBI, another criminal.
Yep.
The one who tells us we're going to be attacked by terrorists now, but didn't do anything about it 3 years ago when Harris and Biden were letting the terrorists in.
Attorney General Garland,
Yeah, he didn't do
Secretary of
anything
State
either.
Blinken, they're all wackadoo.
Attorney General
corrupt.
Garland puts out that note today, virtually as an invitation to kill Trump.
Absolutely. How
Son of a bitch.
irresponsible was that?
Even Barr attacked it. I mean, and now how about we question Zelenskyy about whether Ryan Wesley Ruth Roth, when he went to Ukraine, he loves Ukraine. Did they meet? I mean, Ukraine's got it. I mean, the oligarchs there and Zelenskyy. I'm sorry, guys, you got a motive to kill Trump.
You know, it's really odd. Remember the second
Killings, in Ukraine. The oligarchs are organized criminals. Remember, I know about organized crime. Like they kill people. It's not like, oh my God, would they kill someone? Yeah, you're damn right they kill someone. And nobody's investigating it because the FBI is the Biden Bureau of Investigation. And now it's going to be the cackling Kamala. I mean, the poor things in the FBI and the Secret Service. They've got Trump's the 2 attempted murders of Trump being investigated by an organization that tried to frame him.
You know what I love about Ron DeSantis? I really respect him. I think he's been a great governor for Florida. He said exactly what you're saying. How can we expect a agency that tried to frame a sitting president, or at least some involvement by most of the higher ups, tried to frame a sitting? How can we have them investigate this? So he is going to do. Florida is going to do their own investigation.
And look, the Kennedy assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald, shortly before he murdered Kennedy, was in both Cuba and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So that has always led to the 2 of them being on the top list of possibilities, including, all the responsible analysis that's been done of that. Can't prove it. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see when the documents come out. Also, the mafia and Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why Lyndon
Don't
Johnson?
forget
Because
LBJ.
no way in the world that crook would have become president. I mean, he couldn't even speak. I mean, Lyndon was like them. They had a joke once, Lyndon would read everything like Biden, like Obama did from the teleprompters. Obama used to do that in the White House too. If you ever listen to Obama go off just extemporaneous, it's I think I counted about 120 in 2 minutes.
I kind of want to play the drums or something. You got a tune going there.
So she never passed the bar exam, and there's no record of how the hell he became head of the Harvard Law Review. He never wrote anything.
It was DEI type crap.
What the hell? I don't even know if he can write.
Obama got anointed to fast track to the White House. He's a handsome man, tall. As Biden said, he's a clean black. I don't know what that means.
A long period of time, Biden. Muslim and trained as a communist. Trained by communists.
Yeah, that's true. He's a community organizer.
Theoretically, he's a communist.
Yeah.
My father, he can't figure out if he's white or black.
Yeah.
I know what he is. He's half white. He's half black.
I
I remember reading that book. I'm reading the book. I'm saying, what the hell are you so confused about? You're half white, you're half black. Boy, you really are.
Who cares? Who cares? I remember when his campaign kind of changed. He was far behind the other Democrat contenders for president. Nobody thought, like, here's this first time senator. Like, who the heck is this guy? Somebody did a video and it was kind of a catchy tune. I don't recall it, but a woman coming out with her bikini starts, oh, oh, Obama, Obama. All of a sudden it turned, and all these people are like, Obama, Obama. It was the strangest thing, and it shows how easily manipulated people are with marketing.
Well, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I remember his being brought to people when he was young as our hope, or
Yeah.
I never would buy. I would
Change.
never buy that. I'd always.
How's that hope and change doing? We did.
There's no question. This guy started the movement toward coming.
Deep in
This
thought.
guy. Clinton got us kind of corrupt, but this guy really, boom.
Yeah, he was the big change.
Big corruption.
And dividing us as Americans.
You want to go back into Ukraine, you want to take a look when it all started, and it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Communist
And
right
the
there.
pallets of money he would give to Iran.
So we're going to come back in a short while. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about a very, very strange situation caused by the criminals in the White House and the criminals running for president. And that is the war that could break out in Chicago between the Chicago gangs and the massive number of criminals that Biden and Harris escorted into the United States that are now in Chicago. They like to say, oh, they're all like, bring me your poor and your this and your the burden with their burdens. And yeah. So how about
give me your
in 60 years, there were 12 million. 3.5 years, there are 20 million of these. And the criminals in Venezuela are all here now because Venezuela is nice and safe. We'll be right back. Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. This is Rudy Giuliani back with America's Mayor Live. And how about the Muslim mayor who's supporting Donald Trump?
Amir Ghalib. And we may need Ted from Hamtramck.
Hamtramck, Michigan. Amir Ghalib is supporting Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, it's a very unique little town. It was a Polish immigrants settled there, and then all of a sudden, people from Yemen and Bangladesh. And not only is he the first Yemeni American mayor, because it's been Polish descent mayors, his whole city council are Muslim. But I tell you, one of the things that's binding Muslims with the Republican Party, and that's morals and ethics and protecting children. I saw it. Remember right after the pandemic when schools were opening up and they were allowing school board meetings, and the parents were angry because they found out what teachers were teaching their children. And I saw it then. The Muslim dads, more than the Muslim moms, but the Muslim dads united with other parents saying, not to our kids, you're not going to do this. And hey,
Tell me what
we
this
got to
is.
all protect children.
You read that? What is that?
Queers for Palestine.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, they'll throw you right off a
You gotta
roof
be kidding me.
or jail you for most of your life.
It depends. It depends.
Depends where.
10
There's
years
laws,
sentence,
different places.
10-year sentence, capital punishment, or if you're in certain parts of Iran, they'll stone you,
Yeah,
kill you.
yeah. Depending what country. Yeah.
And but
it is illegal everywhere in the Arab nations.
yeah, and in Africa too. A lot of
Yeah.
Africa. The Africans are.
Oh yes, there were several countries in Africa who told Biden, "Don't ever come here with your BS."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the African countries too. Now, look, I've signed the first domestic partnership bill, but this is ridiculous. Queers for Palestine. No pride in genocide. Yeah, you have to be the genocide.
They don't understand you. You're backing the wrong horse.
No, but are they real or are they paid for?
I'm sure they're paid.
Yeah,
People paying, right? It's not just the Soroses, it's Iran paying, China paying. I'm sure Russia's in there too. They love it when we go at each other. They love it. Why can't we be smart and not do that and try to find solutions to our issues?
And according to this analysis, first of all, he's from Yemen, where the Houthis come from, which are probably the ones that have killed the most Americans.
They do a lot of training for
The
terrorism.
Houthis, and they are completely
Yep.
a function of Iran.
Yep.
I mean, they're run by Iran. So let's take a look at Chicago.
Go.
Chicago turf war. So here's a Chicago street leader. His name is Zach Massey. He's 27. This is a real one. We also have quite a few, a lot of information from a guy who was a gangster. What do they call them? Gangbanger, and went to prison, straightened out in prison, and are now running a rehabilitation group. Guy supports Trump, by the way. They be moving in our own territory and robbing people.
Sorry.
I'm not
Kamala.
I'm not Kamala. I'm
do
not trying to be
consent.
Kamala. I'm not trying to be. I'm
No.
not trying to be Kamala.
No, it's a
I
quote.
can't be
It's a
Kamala. I have a
quote.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
show it.
sorry. I got to read it.
Yeah.
They be moving in our own territory and robbing people, but they don't get arrested like we do. They get set loose though. What's a lot of garbage? This guy's complaining. You really are a crybaby. You got a Soros piece of shit there, DA, and they set you loose. I actually talked to one translator on the translator app. He told me all things he got going on, how they helped him get a car, an apartment, EBT card, all this stuff. We don't get that.
Show the
Here he is. What has he got there? He's got some kind of a
Lakers
thing
t-shirt.
on. They're big on LeBron James crap and.
Oh yeah, he said there ain't no party. That's what LeBron said.
So, so they're trying very, very, very hard to try to limit these people and get them deported. But Chicago, crooked as hell, is like New York, a dedicated sanctuary city, which means it's against the law to turn them in to the federal government, which is against the law. I don't get this with Creepo Adams, who's really got to be going down. He's got to be going down. They did. That's the mayor of New York, who really is
They're
both sides of his mouth.
investigating everyone at the top.
Everyone. One side of his mouth probably got him screwed when he went after Biden. The other side of his mouth is the guy created. I mean, the one guy that Biden could say, "Screw you, Adams. I'm not giving you a penny." Adams invited them all. He told them they would get more than any place else.
He used to greet them at the when they were getting off
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
buses.
yeah. And he acted like they were the people at the base
That were going to come and work. That's what he thought, maybe.
No, he didn't think it. You know why he did it? I'm going to tell you why he did it. And that's what the investigation's about. Because he could extend what de Blasio made a fortune on, right? And all of these creeps did, which is the emergency power that pandemic gave them. What does emergency power do? Emergency power means I don't have to have any bidding for my contracts. So if it's mayor of New York, like, for example, I turned Trump down. The 5 final bidders all bid the same amount to do the what turned out to be the CNN building at Columbus Circle, biggest project I had. I think I gave it to Related on a competitive bid. A competitive bid. Analyzed it 100 ways. I couldn't get anything out of it, and I wouldn't. God forbid. I used to put people in jail for that. I happen to be honest. I mean, they don't tell you that, and it's really tragic what they're doing to me because I led my life that way. But the minute you see no bid, and you see a Democrat in a city, chances are there's something crooked going on. And now, what this did, this gave him hundreds of millions in money for Adams to throw around. The guy who was in charge of that for him got raided by the FBI and quit. He's hanging out there. That guy rats, and wow, they could have as big a case as I had against the Koch administration. Big RICO, babes. Get the money. RICO allows you to take the money, all the money these bastards were taking. You can't tell me this whole migrant thing doesn't involve also a way for crooked Democrats in big cities, which are all crooked, these big cities, to make money and kick around the money. You don't think they were kicking around money for PPP during the pandemic? What do you think? I'm stupid.
One of the Albany legislatures, ignorant as she is, went on air to say, I don't know why everybody's complaining about these illegals. I could use them for redistricting. It's everything we thought, but we never thought they'd say it.
Well, that's also part of it. The New York City Council voted to allow non-citizens to vote. It's on appeal because it violates the New York State Constitution. The New York State Constitution lays out the requirements for voting. You're a citizen. But the New York City Council doesn't think that things like constitutions or
no, there's no respect for the Constitution.
Let them all vote so they can get illegally elected. And let's keep having them come in big numbers so we can have no bid contracts, so we can toss around money like it's half ours. The same way, you're going to tell me that all that money went to crooked Ukraine through crooked Zelenskyy, who covers up for crooks, and some of it didn't end up in the pockets of these scumbags? I don't have any doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's why my objection to this from day one, all the money is different than everybody else's, because you can't trust it. Oh, by the way, Congress attempted a few times to put accountability on the money, and Biden rejected it. And then they never pushed him. Well, because they don't want to get their friends in trouble. That same problem I faced when I went to them with the original Biden criminality, which could have been over with long before he ran for president. A senator said to me, he was like a friend.
A friend. He was saying he didn't want the information because he was a friend of Biden.
That's States. He screwed us. He took money from Ukraine. He took money from Russia. He took money from China. He sold out Bagram Air Base. He's gotten our soldiers killed. He's gotten our kids killed from fentanyl. He's got 250,000 missing children who are being used as sex slaves right in New York on Roosevelt Avenue in Adams. And nobody's doing a damn thing about it. The federal government's investigating. Yeah, investigating. Why aren't you investigating Zelenskyy, damn it? happened, they invite them in. They turned the Border Patrol into Radio City escorts. Are you illegal? Come on in. Let me help you in. Oh, you have a little fentanyl? I don't see it.
Police officer, I cannot recall what state or city. I don't know if it was Chicago, but somebody, a legal person who was in the country, was reporting a crime, and the police officer said, "We're a sanctuary city. I can't do anything. Hey, I arrested some people with double murder, and we let them go because it's a sanctuary city." Well, sanctuary city doesn't mean you get to murder people or commit crimes. Number one, I don't believe in sanctuary cities.
Well,
We all need to.
sanctuary city mean that. At one time, sanctuary city was limited to people seeking hospital assistance, people putting their children in school so the kids wouldn't be on the street, and people who were victim of crimes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they
it's
were
very
dirty
different language now, apparently.
That's the way Koch started it, which I was U.S. attorney when he started it, and I was also.
Was New York the first one? Or no?
I think Koch started it, and
Oh, wow.
it was only a couple of. It was only a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, the most we ever got up to was 400,000. So, and most of them were fine. The reality that they try to impose now is what was true then. They committed less crime than domestic Americans.
Mm.
So if you took, when I was mayor in the
Well, it's
1990s,
people really wanting to come here to work and get a better life.
100,000, right?
It was a different
No
element.
question you had a certain percentage of criminals. No question you had a certain percentage of drug dealers.
Yeah.
But in comparison to Americans, less. Most of them wanted to work. They were working in New York. They were working in restaurant. I would walk into a restaurant, everybody run in the back.
Oh no, because they were illegal.
When I was U.S. attorney, they do it. Now I realized, because I'm a practical person, federal government only had the capacity to deport about 2,000 to 3,000 a year from New York at max, because they get trials.
Oh.
So what does that mean, doctor? I have 400,000 people with me. Federal government's not going to help me. I turned them over. If they were criminals, I used to pick them up almost myself and deliver them. Right?
Yeah.
But the ones that weren't criminals, I had to treat them in a humane way, so they didn't create problems for them or for us. And they were. Oh, I'm going to say they were okay.
Mm.
But what happened is, first of all, the people that came in were all vetted. So they came in during Nixon or Carter or Reagan, and they were vetted at the border. And then
most of them overstayed their visas. Is that correct?
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That 400,000, a big number of visa overstayers, which means they used to like to call them undocumented, because they lost their documents, so they didn't have their documents anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
That was like a euphemistic way.
I hate the Democrats call them undocumented. Now they're completely illegal.
This is illegal.
Yeah.
This is a different. It wasn't a wide open border. It was a border you could sneak around. It's a border you could scam, but that could get you. I'll tell you, when Obama hit 100,000 a month, Jay Johnson said, "This is a tragedy. We can't go we can't go beyond that." I mean, he's gone 3 times beyond it. So it's a different situation, and you can't use one. Now I see that even the Wall Street Journal says, "Oh, most of them are bullshit." You don't know what most of them are, because you don't know who they are. First of all, there's half of them came in without anybody seeing it.
Mm.
We have no idea who they are. And the ones that did come in and we vetted, we didn't vet them the way they used to get vetted.
Yeah.
So the Chinese get asked 4 questions.
Yeah.
We used to ask the Chinese 4,000 questions
and we
not let them in.
We know a lot of them are here just to be spies. We know Venezuela, Maduro literally paid prisoners saying, "Here's money to get to America. Don't you come back."
So Chicago is gonna. They say if they don't do something about it, they're gonna have a war.
They're gonna have
It'll be like it'll make the mafia wars look tame.
Yeah.
The Gallo-Colombo War in Red Hook, I think 57 died in that one. They'll exceed that. I mean, they exceed that in a weekend in Chicago. I mean, that's nothing. That's an exaggeration. So they actually do anywhere from 5 to 20 murders a weekend, and anywhere from 20 to 100 shootings a weekend.
Oh yeah, the shootings are crazy.
Yeah. And that's Chicago before the migrants. And now the people who did that, people who are doing that, are complaining about the migrants. They're worse than them. Now, New York, Chicago, Aurora, Colorado, poor Aurora, Colorado. How the hell did they get
Springfield.
Springfield.
And no, Springfield's Haiti. I'm talking about Trump.
The trans, yeah, that is
TVA.
Aurora. Yep.
Yes. Texas.
Da Aragua. So today there's a big spread in the New York Post about Roosevelt Avenue, which you and I drove along trying to find. We couldn't actually find the exact spot, but they have, I think they call it Street of Dreams or something. And the Street of Dreams is made up of street level prostitutes who are mostly being forced into being prostitutes. They're girls who were brought here to be prostitutes. They just broke up a big brothel. I won't tell you how many underage kids were in there. There were girls, underage girls. And on the street, I am told you'll see underage girls. And they're all brought in. And a lot of them are brought in, you never see them. Because if you're running one of these things, you pay the cartel to let you come in when nobody's looking. Big border, plenty of room to do that. The more we're tied up, the more they can bring people in that way. They prefer to bring people in that way because they make a lot more money. Got it? So I'm Chinese. I want to get a lot of fentanyl in. I want to kill a lot of Americans. I want to make a lot of money. Great, right? They're at war with us. They're killing us. We're just not fighting back because we have an appeaser and we have a guy that's paid off by China in the White House. And we got one coming with until he answers the questions. I'm sorry, Tampon Tim. Until you explain to me your 30 speeches in China, I'm going to figure you're working for China. You can't do 30 teachings, and you can't teach in China 30 times unless you're a damn red Chinese communist. Go tell some idiot that. Don't tell me that. So if the fact that you haven't answered anything about this, and our freaking press won't ask any questions about it, tells me, well, I'm going to just make the safest conclusion for the safety of my people. You're a communist, like Kamala's father. And she's probably too stupid. If I asked her, if I quizzed her on Das Kapital, what do you think would happen? I was born with a family of middle class, and my mother took care of my sister and me, and we have we always had aspirations. What are you going to do the first day you're in the White House? Well, I'm going to aspire to help the middle class.
Because I'm middle class.
Because I'm.
But I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
Oh, there she is. Did you see that face come up? Holy.
They just played our favorite line. Okay.
Don't forget, please. It's a beautiful line. I love this because it explains everything.
But I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be.
It's a long montage.
Now, I do want to do one thing, though. I want to explain to you that is not so harmless a statement. Okay? She may not know it. I probably doesn't because she failed the bar exam. She probably doesn't know it. But that's pure Marxism. That's wiping out history, unburdened by what has been. Like the Constitution of the United States, the founding fathers, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution that they've trashed, right? My rights to be a lawyer, which they've trashed. Unburdened by what has been the greatest democracy, long-standing democracy in the history of the world. which they have. We're not a democracy anymore. But when you consider democracy in the larger definition, not like Dr. Maria always points out that democracy strictly means majority.
Yeah.
But
And we're a constitutional republic.
but we have defined democracy, and most of our scholars will say this, other than the Marxist shit that inhabit most of our schools. Most of our scholars will say that we have a big definition of democracy, the Lincoln definition of democracy, which includes our Bill of Rights, right?
Yeah.
So to us, democracy is also, maybe we should say democracy and the rule of law, because we have 10 amendments that are ours. Now, don't get all upset if you're a poorly educated Democrat, but you know where those rights came from? According to our founding fathers, who would have passed the bar exam if they had one.
Yep.
Up there, they came from God Almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're a country that overwhelming majority of people, most of the time in our history, believed in God.
We were founded on those.
Maybe that's why we're so brave. How many churches did I go to after September 11th? You want to go figure out how many of those men who gave up their lives to save other people believed in God? Probably 99%, 98%. This was a terrible thing that we've done. But that's a Marxist statement. That's the end of history. In Marx, big chapters about it. Engels. End history. Cut it off. Forget the past.
Yep.
The past means no communism. Now, does Nitwit know that what it means? That's what it means. Maybe her father taught her that.
Yeah.
One day he whispered it into her ear, unburdened by unburdened by
Get rid of
little,
the
little-
doc. Don't
little-
teach children how to write and read in cursive, since our founding documents are all in cursive.
Caroline, and you'll meet Caroline. You'll see Caroline soon. We might have been the last generation to learn cursive.
Yeah.
I don't think they still teach cursive. I don't think so.
What do they teach?
That's a good question.
No, I think Catholic schools did learn cursive.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
she did. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, she's my age.
But my grandkid, like Gabriella,
Did learn
did.
cursive,
because it was Catholic schools.
but because those. So you don't think new? I'm
don't
curious to
think
know what the public schools are. Yeah.
I got to check.
Justine Cambridge, tell them what cursive is.
Well, let's see. How would I define cursive? It is the ability to write a word without having to lift up the pen. How would you describe it?
Yeah, which I don't do the best for my brain.
But that's a good question. How do you describe cursive?
Yeah. And,
The ability to
oh
write.
my God, they used to write so beautifully.
Beautiful. And the
It was
language
a work
too,
of art.
right?
But I had, it was Constitution Day last week, I believe, the anniversary of when our Constitution was ratified. And I had it on as a segment in my show, and I put it up and I said, what do you notice about it? And it's that it's written in cursive and young people cannot read it.
Oh, there it is.
So
Let's see.
That's some good cursive. Hold it up for the audience.
I'm going to tell you what I would do now, because I might very well do this.
Yeah, I write I print in cursive, like in the same thing.
So that
A lot of
so the
times.
God part isn't cursive, right? The God part isn't cursive. The God part is just printed out, and then the other two are cursive. It depends. I just signed a bunch of autographs with people who write to me, and some of them are perfect cursive, Rudy Giuliani, and some of them are Rudy, and the R doesn't connect to the U and the G.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even do this
We
kind of
get
G.
we need a nun with an iron ruler hitting our knuckles.
If I did that in the if I did that in the second grade at St. Francis of Assisi Grammar School, this would happen.
Cursive writing great again.
Not with that, not with my hand.
Let's make cursive writing great again. Let's make it sexy.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
Before I went to law school and became a lawyer, I had a nice handwriting. Now
I believe that.
Yeah.
I just
Hospital ruined
I just
mine.
finished a book.
Yeah, we know Dr. Maria's handwriting.
Right.
Actually, it's not bad though. I've seen you write.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm going to show you sometime some of the pages. And I am so impressed with my co-author. She got 90% of it. The only person who could read my handwriting was my secretary, and then my personal assistant for 30 years, Beth Hatton. And there are times in which she could read what I wrote, and I couldn't. I would have to say to her, "What did I write here?"
Mayor,
She said, "Well, you wrote all together." Oh my God, is that what it says?
very good seeing you.
Very good
You look
seeing you.
nice and healthy as my patient. I'm very happy to say that. All right. Bye-bye.
We're going to take a break now as Dr. Maria takes off for who knows what, causing trouble for somebody, saying hi. But Carolyn, maybe we're going to take a break. Carolyn, come sit. We have it all set up.
Well, let's we're going to tease. Part of the tease.
Yeah, that's the tease.
You'll want to stick around.
Excellent. Okay.
You'll want to stick around. Coming up next, Caroline Wren.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
This is Rudy Giuliani. I'm back with America's Mayor Live with Carolyn Wren. Now, Carolyn, did you just come?
I did.
Well, tell me what you're doing there.
Well, I just went to go visit a couple people. I actually love to go to Mexico. I think I was in Guadalajara this time, but Mexico City is a beautiful city. And the number one thing is, I mean, the people there, what I do like about, they love America. They love Americans, but right now they know that it's not Mexicans who are fleeing into our country and crossing our border right now. It's people emptying out the prisons in Venezuela. It's people from Central America, and they're using their own country. Mexico as just a transient wasteland to come through and to enter our country. And so I think
where were you?
Guadalajara.
Okay.
It's the second largest city in Mexico.
Well, tell everybody where that is in Mexico.
It's actually further to like the West Coast, I guess. So it's probably 2 or 3 hours in from Puerto Vallarta right there, but it's inland. It's a big industrial city, and again, it's huge, but it is really beautiful. And I felt safe there. And again, I'm disappointed in the recent elections. Don't get me wrong; they did elect a socialist president, which is upsetting. But
well, I think
yeah,
I think maybe a communist president. But
yeah,
okay.
right. I do want to. You brought up earlier about
I think
what
the socialist thing is a thing of the past.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we've gone straight
to Marxism. Yeah, well,
yeah. I mean, look at Tampon Tim 30 times in China teaching in China. You don't come back a second time unless you're teaching Marxism.
Right.
Sorry. I mean, and then that's why he slips out with things like one man's socialism is another man's neighborliness. Like hell, socialists have only killed 100 million people. I mean,
well, I don't know about you, but I know many assistant head coaches who travel to China 30 times. You not football teams. Isn't that a normal? It's a recruiting process in high schools, is it not? I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I maybe I misunderstood.
I think maybe he was grooming the kids.
Yeah. Well, why else would an assistant head coach be in China?
Grooming the kids to be communists?
Saying.
I don't know. You know, I'm really down on Zelenskyy attacking Jaden Vance. I really think it's an interference in our election. I don't know what gives him the right to come here and say that J.D. Vance is a radical. All that money from Biden.
Yeah.
And he also is sitting on all kinds of crimes committed by Biden, committed by his own boss, Poroshenko.
Right.
By the guy before him, Poroshenko. He knows all about those bribes. He was made by one of the most crooked men in Ukraine history, Kolomoisky, who was the master money launderer, who laundered all of Biden's money, all of the crooked money that's gone out. Considered better than anybody in Russia as a money launderer.
Yep.
Banned by the World Bank until this guy came in and brought him back. That guy made him a millionaire. Meanwhile, he's sitting on all the criminality of all of the oligarchs in his country. What all of a sudden it became an honest country? A couple of years ago, it was the second most corrupt country in the world. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's honest there.
Second to who?
Second to Russia.
Oh, well.
It was always considered second to Russia. Yeah, I always thought so. So when I first went to Ukraine, I asked John McCain, my friend, who can I trust in Ukraine? He said, nobody. Oh, Victor. That was the guy who ran for president, and they tried to kill him and made him into a little bit of a zombie for a while. And so that was it.
Sort of a strange 3D chess move there. Maybe it's some sort of 5, 6, 70. I don't know.
So when Ryan Wesley Ruth went to Ukraine,
Which time?
well, the last time, did he meet with Zelenskyy?
We don't know.
Should Zelenskyy be questioned? Should Zelenskyy be questioned about it? If you're running a real investigation, I'd question him in a second. So you know what I do, having been a very successful investigator of murder, I put on a list of people with the biggest motives to kill somebody. So when you get John Kennedy, I put on the list Russia, I put on the list Cuba, and the guy was in both countries, right? Lee Harvey Oswald was in both countries. I put the mafia because they feel they were double-crossed by the Kennedys. And I also put Lyndon Johnson because he had the most to gain. And Lyndon Johnson was a total scoundrel. Cheated on his first election, used to hand out cash on the floor of the Senate. I mean, there wasn't anything honest about him, which is why Robert F. Kennedy hated him. I put him on the list. I'm sorry, you got a motive. You were president? Gee. Now, I got to put Zelenskyy on the list. I mean, he's got a motive to kill Trump. The gravy train may be over. The whole gravy train could, if it isn't Zelenskyy, could it be an oligarch? Who paid for that guy to go over there? Who paid for him to come back?
Can I throw out a conspiracy theory? But
Yeah.
I think it
Could be the Iranians.
Chef Jose Andres. There's one man who's been pictured by both assassins, by the way, with Zelenskyy, and with Obama, with Biden, with all of them. And somehow, go look that up on Twitter. Both Trump shooters, both Trump shooters. Yes. He also happens to be a UN ambassador, a global. Yeah. I mean, they're public pictures. They're on the internet. Look it up.
Now that we missed that very
It's essential. The same shit
Caroline's always got, come on. She's always got this stuff.
restaurant, and then Trump brought the hotel and he backed out publicly. I mean, he's a militant leftist. But bizarrely, he's somehow photographed in the last couple of years with all of these people.
I'll help you.
It's gonna be a coincidence,
I'm
right?
still not giving up Ukraine. I mean, they have a big motive to get rid of Trump. Look, they conspired against him in 2016. There was Russian collusion didn't exist. Ukrainian collusion did. They made up a phony black book. They made up a number of completely phony stories about him. They did the entire, not the entire, but a good deal of the documents that were used by Hillary against him were done in Ukraine, not Russia.
Right.
Steele hadn't been in Russia in 17 years. He'd been in Ukraine 4 or 5 times.
Right.
He was in Ukraine during the time. Well, I have all this evidence. I don't know what I can share and what I can't on this part. But in any event, the first inkling of Biden criminality that I got, and I'm the one who revealed it, nobody else did. I don't know if anybody else would have, was a call saying they're doing in Ukraine what they claim Trump is doing in Russia. And the whole Russian thing is a hoax. And it's being orchestrated in Ukraine. And they're also directly interfering in the election. And there's plenty of evidence of it.
Right.
And they named Soros and a whole bunch of people. They didn't name Biden at first. Then when they came, they said, well, you know about the big bribe with Biden? I said, no, I don't know what the big bribe with Biden. And so...
Because the bribe was executed. It actually happened. There was an exchange of money and goods.
I love the Ukrainian people. I've been there. I've worked there. I helped design emergency management centers for them. I'm rooting like hell for the people of Kharkiv who are being slaughtered by the Russians. On the other hand, I'm not a fool. I realize that the government is as corrupt as it's always been. The guy is a creature of it. Zelenskyy was made by Kolomoisky, made him a millionaire, put him on television, put him on his television. Kolomoisky also owned the main television station, right, and put him on and made him into this. It was a comedy where he played the president of Ukraine surrounded by all the crooks. And well, he is the president of the Ukraine surrounded by all the crooks and done nothing about the crooks. And if Trump gets elected, you can believe, first of all, the gravy train ends. Number two, and he changes the FBI. I don't know how many of them go to jail. I mean, somebody's got to put that crook Poroshenko in jail. The guy took 100 million. Right. Former president. The whole country knows it. And so so now the answer is, like McConnell, who looks like he's completely gone, says, well, the money to Ukraine is going to the military-industrial complex. And you want me to think that isn't crook? Eisenhower pointed that out 2,000 years ago. You don't think there are kickbacks galore in military contracts? Well, then if you don't know that, you're stupid. I mean, unfortunately, at a certain level in certain countries, corruption is a way of life. Among the ruling Democrats right now, corruption is a way of life. The Bidens started as trailer trash, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and then they ended up taking money from Red China, Russia, Ukraine, you name it, Kazakhstan, massive crooks. And one of the places where they all came together because they love each other, and I think the first connection was made by the prince, that's Obama, is in Ukraine with the Ukrainian crooks. The country that McCain told me you can't find anybody honest. So that was way back in 2003, 2004.
So what do you guys?
Not a single thing about corruption has changed in Ukraine. A couple of minor crooks have gone to jail. Kolomoisky is in a jail that you would go to. And they still haven't, 4 years later, interviewed the people who can name what they say are the Biden offshore bank accounts that have been hidden by our Treasury Department, going back to, unfortunately, Trump's Treasury Department that was double-crossing them.
So what do you guys think of, and we have it up on screen now, what do you think of Zelenskyy visiting an ammunition factory in Pennsylvania? I think that was today or yesterday, and meeting with Governor Shapiro. Shapiro signs these missiles. I don't know. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, this one he probably can cover, right? I mean, Shapiro is the governor. And he is getting missiles from there. Yeah, I don't think you would say that was campaigning. But certainly saying that attacking the Republican candidate for vice president in the United States when you're here for the UN is going out of your way to interfere in our election.
And by the way, he's attacking Trump when he attacks his VP, right?
So when this happened with Trump, issue was they never filed anything indicating it was a campaign contribution from Russia. Because there wasn't any, but that was the crime. Where's the? So are we gonna?
You don't think that was a campaign cover?
Well, I think the statement and the attack on Vance is a campaign contribution.
Oh, I think Zelenskyy went. This was purposeful. You don't go to if you want to go to a manufacturing plant to really see what's being sent to them, you go to South Carolina and go to the Boeing plant. You go to a plant in Pennsylvania and you send a message to every single person that works at any plant. You know where the biggest plant of Raytheon is? Arizona. You send a message to every person that works at Raytheon, every person that works at Boeing, every person that works at Lockheed Martin, every person part of War Inc., that this money in your job will continue if you Kamala Harris to be president. Let me sign this missile on the way out. And this was absolutely campaign activity. Or else it would not have been in Pennsylvania.
I'll buy it. I'm just telling you the Zelenskyy comment about Vance is clear because it directly interferes in the president election. In any event, That's a campaign contribution, according to all the Democratic people, if it happens the other way. But not if it's a Republican. Meanwhile, remember, Trump becomes president, the whole game's over for them. I mean, who knows what Zelenskyy covered up? How many of them? I mean, he hasn't done anything about any of the crimes that were committed there. They're still ongoing, and all that money, there was no accountability for it. How much of that money was whacked up among these crooks? They're not going to let this money just go to fight the war in Ukraine, the war that never ends. He is going to sit down supposedly with Biden. This is hilarious.
Yeah,
He's going to show him a path to victory.
There's a few problems with that, right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Why even go?
Okay, sit down with Biden.
Yeah. What is he actually going to show Biden? So he's going to show Biden's staff, right, Mayor? Yeah.
We still ain't gonna.
No one even suggests talking to Kamala about it. She's unburdened by
Yeah.
She's unburdened by the past and completely unaware of the present. So I mean,
I'm stealing that.
hilarious. And exactly, I mean, there are only a couple of ways to win this war. There's actually one way to win it. There's only one way to win it, and it is to attack Russia. You want to do that, Joe? How about a world war? How about a nuclear war? I don't think even you and even Jill or whoever the hell is making the decision is that stupid.
So you don't think the U.S. will give Ukraine permission to fire these rockets deep into Russia? Because that's what Zelensky's there to ask, right?
We're on the hook there. We're on war with Russia. I mean, if we allow them to attack Russia, Russia would be, we declared war on them. The U.S. declared war on them.
Wow. So that
Putin may be evil, Putin may be terrible, Putin may be awful, and Putin may be Satan on earth, but he's smart as hell. He's working at, I mean, he has an IQ at least. I mean, the two in the White House, they'd have nothing. They got nothing going for them. Ugats, they say in Italian. It means nothing.
wow. But while we have Caroline still here, Mayor, maybe we can get an update on Arizona and maybe some of your other travels.
Okay. Tell us how things are going. Oh, may I just point this out about the mayor of my town? So the mayor, now it is revealed that he's received either a subpoena for 5 different countries that, well, I can't say that he did business with, but that he had some kind of relationships with. It had been focused on Turkey. Also, virtually his entire top 10 people have been raided by the FBI. He puts an interim commissioner in who comes from the FBI. The next day, he's raided by the FBI. And yesterday, he received a subpoena for 4 more countries. So you got 2 different things going on, having done this to Koch, right? This is how I became mayor. I mean, I put a good deal of, they were whacking up millions around Koch. The question is, are they whacking up millions? And is Adams part of it? So it looks like it's a bunch of different things. One big one are the migrant contracts. The guy who was giving out the migrant contracts has been raided and quit. So he was giving out hundreds of millions in no bid contracts because this migrant thing allowed Adams to declare an emergency, which may be the reason he did it. I mean, why would anybody invite all these people into a city and give them a credit card unless there was a lot of cash running around that you and your pals could kick around? Now, all Adams would be doing is carrying on the 170-year tradition of New York being a crooked Democratic city, with a few exceptions. When I was mayor, or LaGuardia or Bloomberg, I don't know, in the century before, probably some independents. The city was always crooked. It's crooked right now, very badly crooked right now, including the judiciary. You saw it with Trump. You look at Merchan's daughter. Already been paid $500,000 from cackling Kamala.
It's totally unrelated activity for them. And
yeah, well, everybody I put it. Everybody I put in jail for Biden, everybody I put in jail for bribery used to say that too. Yeah, it's unrelated.
Yep.
Because I sent Congressman Podell off to jail,
Right.
or Congressman Biaggi, or
My problem with Adams is I'm deeply disappointed that I loved that Lori Lightfoot was truly the worst mayor and most corrupt in the country. And now Adams is it's going to take her throne, and she was my queen. And I cannot
Well-
believe that someone might dethrone
well, I
Lori
will tell
Lightfoot
you, Adam,
from that role.
the jury's out on whether he was involved, or it may turn out, if these things have any substance, that he had the most crooked regime since who knows when.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would take a lot, because by and large, with a few exceptions, if a Democrat is in charge of an old American city, it's crooked.
Yep.
And the judiciary is crooked, which is why they fixed the election
Right.
in crooked Democratic cities. Not every place. Nobody notes that.
Let's start at 2000.
Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta, man, are they crooked? I mean, you think you're going to get in front of a judge and get a fair shake? The judge is put there by the crooked machine, just like the judges in New York are put there by the crooked machine. So Judge Engelmoron has run for judge 3 times, never had an opponent, because he was put there by the county leader, whose father was one of the most notorious judges in New York history. Let him loose Bruce. Yeah. I got a lot of New Yorkers beaten up, killed, just let criminals go free. So she's not showing up for the Al Smith dinner. I want to show this picture because I'm in it. See?
Really?
Right there.
Oh, that's great. Oh, Maria.
Yeah.
Bartram, right there. We got her. How about her for AG?
She's
Judge,
not a lawyer.
or Secretary of State.
How about she's not a lawyer?
Oh, she's not.
It would be Treasury if we
Treasury. That'd be
gotta
good
pick
too.
something out. Can they see this?
I'm bringing up the full version. Yep. There you are, Mayor.
So the Al Smith.
Who's that you see in the upper left corner of
With
this
the big smile?
picture? Big smile.
That's former Mayor Giuliani laughing at Trump's joke.
Hmm.
At that time, his constant companion.
Hillary's laughing too. You know who's not? Cuomo. Cuomo's
Cuomo doesn't seem to understand.
what was he doing in 2016? Was he mayor? Or was he governor? Was he governor in 16?
He was governor, yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah,
He
Bloomberg.
was governor, sure. They wouldn't put him there if he wasn't.
Only
governor.
people I recognize: the mayor, Maria, Cuomo, Hillary, the cardinal. Well, he's not even in it. And there's the boss, as they call him, as we call him.
I could pick out a few criminals. Ray Kelly, the police commissioner.
Where's Ray Kelly?
Ray Kelly is right behind Cardinal Dolan.
Oh, your picture must be a little bit larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours extends a little bit further out. Is that Henry Kissinger? No. Over the Trump's left shoulder? No.
I doubt.
The older gentleman? That is it. Yeah.
Sorry, that's his right shoulder.
That is Henry.
That would be his
Yeah.
I am surprised that
Henry Kissinger.
I don't remember him being that.
And she's from one of the news networks next to him. What's that?
Gail.
Gail. That's
Yeah.
Gail.
Where's Susan Rice?
Yeah. I think you're right. That's Gail. So right next to Kissinger.
Yeah.
Maria for Treasury. That's interesting.
No. No. Good reporter. Treasury, a little beyond her. So here is a Catholic church in Brooklyn. See that? Adams let that happen. Adams, chief of staff, let that happen. Frank Carone, with a Catholic priest. This is some kind of a singer. I don't even know who the hell she is.
She's an actress.
Or whatever.
She's on the HBO show.
Yeah, she's obviously a hoe. Look at that. She's dressed in a church. You dress in a church like that? You dress in a church like that? This is part of the corruption probe. Do you know that? So Frank Carone was the chief of staff to, and he was being investigated for letting this happen. She did some kind of a video here where they also do something with a dead body. She may actually take her clothes off at some point in the church. The priest has been suspended by the bishop, of course. The church happens to have a very, very interesting history. It used to be Joe Bonanno's church. It was a mafia church. And the priest is Italian.
Say what you about the mafia, but you know what wouldn't have happened if that was still a mafia church. There's not a shot that that's going on.
Bonanno would have killed him. I think Bonanno's kid was shot on the steps of this church, right behind his church. I'm pretty sure. But Bonanno, this was Bonanno's church. He put a lot of money into it.
They said the decency not to shoot him inside the church.
I'm not 100.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, I think you're right.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to tell you something very funny. I used to teach catechism in that church. That church, I taught catechism because I remember we used to teach it in pews here.
How old were you teaching catechism?
Oh, I was 15, 16.
Teaching it to the younger kids.
Teaching the babies, teaching it to kids from public school who came from religious instruction.
Yeah.
This was a very
On Sundays, right?
at the time,
Sunday morning.
beginning to become. It used to be an Italian neighborhood when the mafia was there. It was beginning to become a little dangerous, and a lot of my friends were afraid to go, so I'd go with them, and we would teach there. This is definitely that church. Whether it's the Bonanno Church, I'll have to take that back and do a little more research. I'm pretty sure. But this is part of the investigation. Look what these people do. They have, they're destroying our civilization, our culture. When you talk about Springfield and whether the Haitians are eating the animals, not eating them, whatever they're doing, Springfield is a damn disaster. Thank God it was brought up. The people are getting hit like it's bumper cars because the Haitians are being given a driver's license and they can't drive. They don't have to take tests. They have to get a letter. I don't understand this. I don't care if you're a Haitian or a Prussian. How the hell do you drive without a driver's test? I mean, why can't they take a driver's test? Just because they're illegal migrants? They don't take aliens? They don't take they hate it when you call them illegal aliens, except that's the legal word. That's in the law. Take it out of the law if you don't want me to say it. The undocumented. Yeah, undocumented rapists, murderers. How about this poor kid right here? See that? This kid was doped by the cartels because he knew too much and he was coming across the border and they doped him. What could he be? About 14 years old? You want to go take? I won't even show you the pictures of the little girls that were involved in the Tron de Aragua raid in New York on Roosevelt Avenue. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Please. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid again.
Well, we still have Caroline with us. Mayor, maybe we get a quick update on Arizona, our friend Carrie Lake, before we say goodbye to our friend here.
Isn't she winning by 20%? She's running against the communists for sure.
Right. Oh, he really is radical.
Right?
So,
like to the left of even some of the crazier ones.
right. Well, I would say all the public polling has all of the Senate candidates down right now, except for Sheehy, which is normal. If you remember, Ron Johnson was down in every single poll from August on. There was not a single poll that showed him up. And in fact, the aggregate was him down like 3.4 and he won by 2.6. And so we just have to remember that polls are the only smart advice Lindsey Graham ever told me was that polls are for strippers and firemen. And so we need to remember that as we start to look at these polls. They always yeah, I know it is good. Lindsey, that's a Lindsey Graham line. But so they're always going to be down. We're all going to remain down. But right now, I would say that they're all tight. And I do think in 68 of the last 69 Senate races, when Donald Trump was on the ballots, Trump and the Republican Senate candidate won or lost the state together. The only exception to that was Susan Collins in Maine. Susan Collins won Maine and Trump lost Maine. Otherwise, every single time, and in fact, think back to 2016, there were 2 states that Trump lost and 2 Senate candidates that lost. And who were they?
Georgia?
No, this 2016.
2016.
It was 2. There was 2 candidates that unendorsed Donald Trump after Access Hollywood. It was Kelly Ayotte, New Hampshire, and it was Joe Heck in Nevada.
Nevada.
Yes. So you know what happened? Guess what? Ron Johnson won and you had Tillis win in North Carolina. All the other competitive races won who stuck with Trump. But instead, Ayotte cost Trump the state of New Hampshire, and she cost her own Senate race. And so did Heck by doing that. So this is why I believe that Donald Trump is going to win Arizona, and so is Kerry Lake. And as long as these candidates, which they all so far are, like McCormick in Pennsylvania, and you have Bernie Moreno in Ohio is starting to pull ahead. I mean, and Tester is in a state that, I mean, Trump won by 16 points in Montana. So I do think that all these candidates will win or lose based on Donald Trump in this election.
Had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
We have an idea. Maybe
Old man.
It's a reality.
Yes.
Maybe she can help us. She knows the people in that race. So
Tester.
he has a whole
Yeah,
idea.
it would help him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It might help him actually. Yeah.
Old man Tester is a louse. E-I-E-I-O.
No, we've worked on that. We've been working on that for a few days.
Yeah.
So new polling. 3 battleground states show that Kamala Harris's honeymoon has ended.
New York Times.
So
He's full.
Trump is ahead in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, according to the New York Times. Reversing Harris's lead in 2 of the states.
Yep.
Well, he's ahead in Arizona, Georgia.
Yep.
And North Carolina.
Right.
Also, there was a guy on today that I was listening to. I don't know what poll he was taking apart, but it's one where Kamala has a slight lead. You know the sample of Republicans in the polls, 22%.
They do it all the time. Like these polls, again, polls are for strippers and firemen. We should really parade.
And Trump has 22% of the black vote in the poll.
Yeah.
Which means he wins by a landslide. And he's tied with the Hispanic vote, which means he wins in a landslide.
Well, people were freaking out at this New York Times poll because it had a massive swing towards Trump in the Hispanic community, especially in Arizona and the cross steps of this poll. And so I like to listen to all the liberal podcast hosts, and they were just having a meltdown over this and like, what could be happening? I thought we won this debate. And it's like, no, yeah, everyone said that Trump did poorly. Well, I talked to people who didn't watch the news afterwards or read in the morning, who just watched the debate, went to bed like normal, citizens who woke up and they texted me, Trump was amazing. This did great. So this is just the media once again fabricating their own wishes. And
Trump was very substantive.
Yeah.
You could criticize he didn't cover everything. Well, you can't get an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean, I've done 11 of those debates during the primary. And the biggest frustration is me divided up. Like first time I debated was 10 people. I had 7 minutes.
Right. That's it. It's like, right.
And then, then even when you get down to 2 candidates, it's really, you say an hour and a half, but it's maybe a half hour. You get about 20 minutes.
Right.
You get about 20 minutes.
Right.
And he dominated. I mean, well, she can't say. They said,
Nothing to say.
He got to talk more. He got to talk more because he had something to say.
Right.
I mean, she was talking in riddles.
Yep.
I love the question when she's asked, "What's the first thing you're going to do when you become president?" She says, "Well, I am going to fix the middle class. I have aspirations for the middle class because my mother was from the middle class and she taught me to have aspirations, and so she's going to aspirate."
I feel so much better.
She's going to sit in the Oval Office if she ever wins, God forbid, and she'll aspirate. I don't even know what that is. I've been trying to look it up. I didn't have time today. I was going to bring a doctor on to ask him, explain to me. I should have asked Dr. Maria, what's aspirating?
Did you just fall off the coconut tree? Everyone knows what aspiration is.
Well, do you guys think
aspiring is? It's bullshit. That's what it is.
what it appears that we won't see as of now? There will not be a second debate.
I hope not, because
is that the right move?
100%. I wouldn't debate again with any of those people from the left-wing media. I mean, what? Look, fool me once, right? Right?
Shame on me.
Fool me twice, and I'm a jackass. Okay.
No, fool me once. Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame.
In any event, CNN. I mean, okay, they were fair in the Biden debate. Fair.
They could not be
fair. They weren't fair in the Biden debate. First of all, they let Biden off the hook 20 times. It just didn't help.
They were just hoping he doesn't die on stage. So everyone's they were just holding their breath.
I mean,
I think they may have. Yeah.
They never challenged him. They never asked him about his corruption.
But even they may have just saw the man after a few minutes and thought, you know what? Let's not even. This guy's he's not going to last.
No, they didn't. They were there to try to fix it, and they couldn't because there was no way.
No, they were complicit. It was a setup. That was Biden's team, the Democrat, and Nancy Pelosi and Obama. They set it up. Trump walked into the trap. We never should have had that first debate in the first place. CNN was complicit in doing it. We never should have accepted it. They wanted to let Biden hang himself, which they did. And so that's why CNN sat there quietly.
And you were
let him
saying
do it. I said I was on
before the debate.
every day.
Honestly,
So that morning,
She was saying not to do it. I remember that. Yeah.
don't do this. It is a trap. And now,
let's see.
instead, we were pulling, 10 points up everywhere, pulling outside of the margin of fraud. And now we're pulling within the margin of effort. And I don't have think there's a lot of effort on the side of the Republican Party.
Well,
So,
but what I got to tell you is, though, in the long run, it may turn out that Biden would have been tougher in the long run. Let's take Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Biden would have made Pennsylvania closer. Just the theory of Biden. I mean, the old
You're right.
history of Biden.
Right.
Michigan too.
She is completely. I don't see her having a chance of winning Pennsylvania, and I don't see Shapiro, who, by the way, is an election fixer. I mean, he was deeply involved
Right.
in screwing us in 2020. You think he wants her to win? It puts him off for 8 years. By the time he may actually be an old man, he might get even shorter.
well, she's a deeply insecure person. That's why she picked Walz. Walz is very comfortable being the assistant head coach, the assistant to the assistant head coach,
Well, you think
whatever the title is.
that's right. She picked
Yeah,
him
so
because
she's deeply insecure. She was never going to pick a Shapiro or a
Whitmer.
someone that could outsure that she'd have to worry about every single day. I mean,
Whitmer, can you imagine?
Come
No
on,
way.
like
well, they wanted to get rid of her immediately if she ever won.
Yeah.
If they had like, I mean, Walz. I mean, you'd think she analyzed the fact that he's an operative or could be an operative of Red China.
Walz is just was handpicked by Obama and by
Communist background.
yeah, Clinton and by Nancy Pelosi. They had this all set up. We walked right into their trap, and here we are. Now we're not electing Kamala. We're electing this cabal of people that have been running our country for a very long time now.
I think it is. I think if the election were held today, he'd win the electoral vote probably about 270, 280. And he might even win the popular vote by a point or two.
We don't have a path to 270. We did, but a Republican blocked us in Nebraska because Republicans are the most self-destructive people I've ever seen in my life. So they could get to 270 and 269. We now
terrible.
can't.
That's
And
true.
it's because of stuff like this.
That's
We sent
terrible.
Trump sent Lindsey Graham in to negotiate the Nebraska deal.
Oh.
Riddle me that.
Tough Lindsey. Oh, you should have sent me.
Yes, or someone, but again, of course, it ended up failing. And so, but again, this was another just kind of unforced error. And so we don't have a path to 270. We basically have a path. I mean, we have a path to getting, or yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it comes to that, there's a real path though for them to get 270 and us to get 269 now, which is very concerning. We could win Pennsylvania, and they could win that Nebraska
What's
district.
wrong with our party? That's not a matter of principle, whether you do it one way or the other. And particularly when you consider that in this election
Yeah.
cycle, they've already tried to take him off the ballot for no good reason at
Yeah.
all, other than cheating. I mean, that's complete cheating. To take him off the ballot. The Secretary of State of Michigan just takes him off the ballot for an insurrection that is in her mind. It's not even in her mind. There's no insurrection. There's not been charged, not been proven. What kind of country are we? You just take him off the ballot? And this guy's worried that he's not being fair, and they're taking him off the ballot.
Think about it. I mean, Brad Raspberry is from in Georgia. Go to Maricopa County. Maricopa County is run by Republicans. Like Nebraska, a Republican legislature stopped that from getting passed. I mean, it is like we are the most self-destructive party I have ever seen in my life.
Biggest problem I had representing him in the election battle were Republicans. I think Georgia.
I remember they wouldn't even let you have a hearing.
Think Georgia. Think Arizona.
Yep.
Mhm.
I know. So the left, the left doesn't even have primary. They don't have any. They lock and step. They say what to do. Everyone, boom, 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 just totally in line. And Republicans, I mean, the Nebraska thing was a brutal blow, and it's just unbelievable to me that we let it go that far and we couldn't get it done in a state that red.
I saw that this morning, and It just drives.
Yeah. What did he say? What was the reasoning for it?
It's only fair.
It's only if it's too close to the election, even though they've been talking about calling a special session to do
Yeah,
this.
they've been tripped for
The
months.
reason why they didn't was because Maine, so there are 2 states that don't do winner take all, and that's Maine and Nebraska. And so when Nebraska was going to pass it, which this guy said he would vote for it then Maine came out and said, okay, well, then we'll pass the exact same thing. And then when we pass ours, then it will just offset.
Can we win that vote?
No, so we wouldn't have won the Maine vote. That Maine's
No,
run by, yeah.
I know about Maine.
Nebraska, it was won, but then I've been involved in this Nebraska fight for a long time now.
We win that one vote in Nebraska.
No, he came out unequivocally yesterday and said, I absolutely will not support it. And we're 1 vote.
The election in November. Can we win that? Can we win that election?
I know it's kind of nobody's like really spending there, not necessarily. Yeah. So that means like we can win Pennsylvania and still lose this election. They now have a path to do it. You can go through just Georgia and I think it's like Wisconsin, Michigan, and that one district. If you're Kamala, you get 270, we get 269. And it is such a
That's tough.
it's a reasonable path for them too.
Yeah,
like
because we'll win Pennsylvania before we win Wisconsin or Michigan. So you're right. So we could win Pennsylvania, but not do well enough to win Wisconsin and Michigan. Or
still an uphill battle. I feel good about Pennsylvania. I absolutely do not. Pennsylvania is the most corrupt state in the country.
Philadelphia, yeah.
When it runs elections in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I don't say
I just don't think Shapiro's all in.
that is true. That might.
nor is Whitmer.
Right.
Nor is
Yeah, that's a good point. Like
she's
they
not
may.
all in either. I mean, first of all, they can't like Camel,
Right.
and I don't know if they want 4 years of Camel.
Right.
Number 2, they want to run.
Well, it'd be 8 years, right? Can she get 8?
They could figure that she's going to fall apart, but then what kind of chicken? One of 2 things happens, right? She falls apart.
Yeah.
So it's tough being a Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
No matter, even if you are a little short Shapiro and you're a genius. Whatever the hell you are. Most overrated guy, I think, in the country, running a terrible state. Pennsylvania is unbelievably bad shape because of crime. Philadelphia, under him, has set a record for murder. And Shapiro is a big. You want a president who's set a record for murder? It's ridiculous, the people they look at. But in any event,
The only record they have is the Eagles have the biggest losing record in the country right now. And it's shocking to me that the Eagles came out and endorsed Kamala and then now have lost every single game since. And so if you're an Eagles fan in Pennsylvania, maybe you should look at that correlation.
So funny. The best. She's the best.
with what's his
Jason Kelsey, Taylor Swift,
Travis Kelsey.
Travis.
Jason's the brother.
Swift.
Yeah.
I apologize. He's changing the name, right? Yeah.
Knows what's good for him.
Yeah.
If I were, I got to believe that most of the team is for Trump. Football players have got to be for Trump.
Well, Mahomes, the quarterback, his wife Brittany is for Trump. Remember, then they had to put out like, oh, she's second guessing now that Trump does, and everyone's like, no, she's not. Like she's
with us.
Yeah. But the team now and the owners
And the kicker.
the owners are Republicans, are the
The
Hunt
Hunts.
family. Yeah, they're
From Dallas, right?
team owners are like scared of their own shadow. Did you see in Arizona? So this was great. This put out. She wore a MAGA hat to the Cardinals game 2 weeks ago. She got kicked out of the game because they
A fan.
hat said you cannot wear this. So I found out and tracked her name down. Trump signed a hat and sent her a personal replacement of that one.
Nice.
So then we had Turning Point USA go in on Sunday. They handed out 650 MAGA hats at the game, and security kept trying to come over and shut them down. They're like, you can't hand that out. It's political. It's NFL rules. They're like, what's political about Make America Great Again? Doesn't even say. So then they end up winning. And so there were 650 people walking around with Trump hats at the Cardinals game this
Yes, that's genius, Caroline. Yeah.
That every
NFL game between now and November.
I can't wear something political on my.
Have you met Roger Goodell?
Come on, Mayor. Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Like
some political speech is allowed.
Big supporter of the cop killers.
Yeah.
The communists, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Yeah. You're right, though, Mayor. How come they got away with all that?
Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon.
Kneeling for the flag.
That he supports pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. That's what she happened.
Yeah.
Look, I mean,
Fry them like bacon. Goodell.
you can wear BLN hats. That's totally fine. But God forbid it says Make America Great.
Yeah. What the hell is that?
It's the same NFL that had Diddy. How many times was Diddy at NFL? Someone should look that up. How many times was he the lead halftime?
That's a good. Yeah. We'll have to.
P-Diddy.
P-Diddy, who's the guy that's currently the new Epstein.
He's got something on it. A bunch of.
But you're right. I mean, look at the mayor. Look at you and your love for the New York Yankees. I mean, I don't even know if I'll be able to convince you to go to a game. It's going to be Tigers Yankees, and I can't convince them.
Black Lives Matter.
Who owns the Yankees?
What?
Who owns the Yankees?
Steinbrenner is George is turning over in his grave. I know George is turning over in his grave. George was born on the 4th of July.
You and George were close.
George and Steinbrenner and Trump are very, very good friends.
Really?
And I was actually a closer friend of Steinbrenner's. That's how I became a friend of Trump's.
Through Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner was as patriotic as you are going to find, like Trump.
And like you.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's the one who began the God Bless America, the 7th inning. And then even after 9/11 was over, he required it. He required it. He required it. He required it. He would have all kinds of patriotic. Major League Baseball say you can't do it. Go.
Yeah.
You know,
You get on the phone, go after yourself.
my favorite owner.
Put a big flag out on the World Series. It's my stadium. Go after yourself. Boom. I mean, they're a bunch of I don't know what they are.
It's coming back a little bit, but you're right.
It is coming back, and football is coming.
Football's
They
coming.
don't
They
need now
learned.
anymore.
They took a beating in the ratings a little bit. That really did impact the ratings back 10 years ago.
I haven't watched it a long time ever since all that. My favorite owner is David Tepper, who owns the Panthers. Remember David Tepper, wealthiest guy in New Jersey, and he left because of taxes. He bankrupted the entire the state government shut down because they could when he left, he called their bluff and they couldn't afford their state government anymore because when his taxes left the state.
So I cannot believe that they changed the name of the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians to names that I think are the labels for condoms, guardians and commanders. I think there's a guardian line of.
Yeah. They're really good names, though. If they don't have them yet, that is a great name. Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen commanders as
a name or like a sub brand under a brand.
You go in and say, "Give me commander."
Okay.
Give me commander condom.
Yeah.
So the damn team is named after a condom.
And by the way, I actually learned a lot about Native American history and traditions through the NFL and Washington Redskins. Right? They always invited the now you don't even know and you don't hear of them.
It was over 90% Native Americans.
Or support. Yeah.
Something like a majority of them wanted to keep the name.
They celebrated. They did events, nice little things during the game, celebrating Native Americans. Now they'll just be forgotten in history.
The Braves, I guess, is okay, right? But they had the guy who goes.
On Chief Wahoo. No, that was the Indians. Chief Wahoo was the name of. No, they do the tomahawk chop.
He used to make noise though.
Whoa! Yeah, they do the thing with a.
Record against the Braves.
The tomahawk.
Subterranean.
Was that a sweep? Was that a sweep?
No, we lost the first 2 games when we played them. No, we never lost again. We were 8-2.
You played
series with all their great pitchers. Yes, Hall of Fame pitchers.
We
had one pitcher.
Glavine, Smoltz, John Smoltz.
Pitchers that all put together.
Tom Glavine, John Smoltz.
Pitchers.
Back then, Roger Clemens.
They won all our final series.
No?
We had one pitcher that's better than all of them put together times 2.
Mariano Rivera or Roger. That's his
man elected and only
favorite Yankee, second favorite Yankee.
Why? Why is he elected unanimously, and why is that fair? Because the gap between him and the next best person at what he did
at his position
is impossible.
Yeah,
impossible. There is no second best
closer,
pitcher, even close.
Even
close.
Yeah,
not even 100 saves close. What about his World Series and playoff record? The guy would go a whole season and not give up a home run.
Yeah.
Do you know how nerve-wracking it was when he put a man on base? He never did.
He didn't play for the.
When he got older,
he
would occasionally put a man on base, but usually the closers were. And he began as a rookie, being the 8th inning guy. And as the 8th inning guy, he was almost named most valuable player because he wasn't a rookie. Actually, he got like the 3rd votes for MVP.
Wow!
Second year in the league because he pitched over 100 innings, and his earned run average was just a little over 1.
Wow!
He was set up for Wetland.
That's right.
Wetland, who was a great closer.
I mean, those Yankees teams. You won how many World Series in the 90s? 4, 6, 4.
In the playoffs every year.
Every year. I mean, that was just a gimme. That it was just a given. When you were the man, well, that's the key here. How many World Series the Yankees win? 1. How many when you were mayor? 4. They've won one since then, and really, you could argue that was with a lot of the guys. Well, the manager.
A-Rod.
It was A-Rod. Yeah. Okay.
Hit the big home run in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now that was 6-game World Series, and that was a World Series in which I saw what they do at the Phillies ballpark, and it's almost as bad as I saw a guy get his head bashed in.
Well, in Philadelphia, yeah. Philly, yeah. They boo Santa Claus. Philly fans are the worst.
They started in the second inning.
Yeah, they boo Santa.
I had a security company then. I had my
They
security.
pelted him with
Yeah.
snowballs.
Yeah.
Second inning, they start fighting, and the cops come in, and you're going to throw them out, and they just sit them down. By the 8th inning, the guy got a concussion.
Oh gosh, you go to Eagles games. Make sure you're sitting in the nice section. So.
Look up on Twitter. Search Phillies owner Beverly Hills. Did you read about this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait till you see this. So the Phillies owner is owned by the Middleton family, right? And so their son is actually a Republican because he got killed. He donated to Trump in 2016 and they canceled him. So look at what happened. So he left his mansion in Beverly Hills and all of these squatters have moved in. They've look at this. It's all covered in graffiti. This is his house, John Middleton Jr. And he's not allowed. The police come every day and clear people out. They come every day back here.
Why couldn't he go back?
The city, because it's in Los Angeles and they won't allow him. They're saying that he hasn't been there enough. And so they've just allowed all of these people to come into his house. Look, they've completely destroyed this place. Look at this.
I mean, that's no private property.
It is unbelievable.
Los
It's
Angeles?
covered from, that's in Beverly Hills. Massive mansion. This is John Middleton Jr., his home right there. And this same guy, he got fired from being a producer. He was like a producer on the Legos movie and different things. He's a friend of mine because he gave it was like $25K to Trump in 2016. It wasn't something significant. And so look at them. They've let his house. Look at that. That is his
privately owned house.
Privately owned house that has been completely filled with homeless people. They throw a party, everything. They won't allow him back onto his own property. This is what a blue cities do to you. Look at that. Look at that.
Comrade Newsom.
Completely destroyed.
How do these
I didn't even
Squatters?
I didn't even know about this.
Press doesn't cover
well,
anything.
yeah.
You have to know, like Middleton. I mean, it's just they don't cover anything. We have to go
Hand me
search
that,
for
Jen.
this type of
Right
information.
I'm going to close out with this. We have a storm coming. Yeah, and I think it's called Helene, right?
Hurricane
Helene, right?
Helene.
And it's going to, according to this,
We'll bring it up on screen here.
according to this, it's going to hit. It's not going to hit us. It's going to hit the upper part,
Probably the
of
Panhandle, yeah.
Florida, into the Panhandle, going right through Savannah, where Trump was today. And they're looking at 2 a.m. on Thursday. And then at 2 p.m., it should hit Florida, according to this, at 115 miles per hour at 2 p.m. on Thursday. And then it should be up around Savannah, but down to 70 miles an hour. As I remember, when these things are over land, they slow down. There it is.
Yeah.
So DeSantis declared an emergency. The county up in that region there today.
Yeah.
So
You got it up
be
here.
aware of that if you're there. I don't know. I mean, tomorrow we'll let you know where it goes after that. It looks like now, thinking as the mayor of New York, who had to deal with this and always track these things, looks to me like it's headed inland. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that little swerve there, which would mean it'll peter out. So God willing, that's the case. Because look, it goes from 115.
Yeah.
Right. So it stays over the ocean, goes up to 115. And then by the time it's over landfall, it's down to 70.
Right.
The longer it stays on land, if this thing goes out that way, you got a problem. Then it hits water.
Yep.
But it doesn't look.
Have you guys, and you've been down here for longer than I have. Have you experienced hurricanes while being here?
I've never been into a hurricane.
You know, I bought my house a year and a half ago, and so I haven't been here for one yet. I realize I'm entirely unprepared for one, though. I have no bottled water, no flashlights, no nothing. And so I was following this today. I was watching DeSantis's press conference. I thought to myself, I'm like, cool, I'm so doomed. So I live in the water, too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're just swamp. So I might as well. Luckily, I'm an extremely good swimmer.
We'll
so-
pick up like a thing of water. We'll pick up a case of water, Carolyn, or something. Yeah.
Well, Caroline, it's been a thrill.
Yes.
Fabulous. It's been very exciting. My audience is very, very happy at this point. And just do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, please go out and if you're in a place that's early voting, go get some votes, huh? That's the best thing. People say, what can I do? Go get some votes. You have friends, right? You got friends. Get on you got to vote for Trump. I'll pick you up. If it's early voting, or did you get your absentee ballot? Let's all make out our absentee ballot. Let's have a party and make out our absentee ballots and save our country from the communists.
Save democracy, as they say.
Save us.
Although I will, you earlier today, you said, how do you define democracy? I have a definition. Democracy is 2 wolves and 1 lamb deciding what to have for lunch. That's why we are a constitutional republic and not a democracy.
I'll accept that. Okay. Well, thank you. And I want you to pray for the people of Ukraine. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to have such crooked people running them, and they don't deserve to have happened to what Russia did to them either. I mean, they're between a rock and a hard place. They got a government of miserable crooks, and they've got a maniacal, crazy man, which is what Putin is. Don't let anybody fool you. Smart. Don't underestimate him, and you probably can negotiate with him. But he's evil as all. You got it, baby. He's killed a lot of people. Met him twice. Remember one of the times I met him, it was after Bush said he saw something in his eyes. I saw something in his eyes too, like the murderers I used to put in jail. That's what I saw. And number 2, let's pray for the people of Israel, because they're getting double-crossed big time. Big time. I mean, we'll do it tomorrow, but they're kicking ass right now, boy. Wow. Oh, man, what they're doing.
That pager thing was so good.
How about yesterday and today? They took out. Actually, yesterday, Lebanon said was the most deadliest day in Lebanon in 20 years.
Yep.
Now, the Lebanese don't cry too much. They're making money renting places to shoot rockets off at their houses. So when you think about the Palestinians and you think about the Lebanese and you think about there are some good ones, no question about it, but most of them support these animals. The Palestinians are taught to kill us, at 2. Us, Americans. The textbook is provided by the UN organization that employs only Palestinians. And we pay for it. You pay for it. That's going to end like that. We were out of there. Communist Joe put us back. Campbell will keep us there, probably put more money in. It's a UN agency, almost all run by Palestinians, including 7 that were caught raping and killing on October 7th. A UN agency. One of these days, I'll tell you all about the UN, because I used to have to police them for 8 years. Talk about perverts. Whoa. Okay. God bless America.
Nassau County, where I live from